Hi everybody, Sarah Zolecki here. Hope you guys are doing fantastic. And guys, I'm excited to share with you just a little bit about the importance of personal development, but also maybe give you a perspective that you maybe never looked at when it comes to personal development. So we're going to talk about the 7 senses of personal development, meaning like when you actually do personal development, you actually develop these things. And a lot of people don't realize the really cool things that come out of personal development, right? So I know most of us know, like, we all need to be working on getting better and growing and kind of stepping into the best version of ourselves. But I think too, like, sometimes we just kind of, it's something that we always hear. So it's not anything that a lot of times we get excited about, right? And so one of the things that I think is really cool, guys, is I'm going to walk you through just really simply over the next couple minutes, just 7 really cool things that come from developing you, right? From developing yourself, okay? So I want to encourage you guys, grab a notebook and a pen. I actually have some notes, so I'm going to be kind of looking over a little bit because I want to make sure I give you guys kind of all the things that were on my mind over this last weekend when it comes to personal development, okay? So one of the things that I wrote down as I said, you know, through all these different experiences that we have in life, right? Whether they're good or bad or they just are, you know, what's going to happen, guys, is the more that you do personal development, the more you're going to be able to be more proactive in all of these different things, right? Proactive in challenges, proactive in successes, proactive in just all of the efforts, right, that you put forth every single day in your life. And so one of the things that I want to encourage you guys to do is, you know, when it comes to personal development, you know, I know for some of us, we're either hot or cold or have a hard time being consistent. I want to encourage you, figure out what works for you, right? Everybody, it's going to be a little bit different. I don't care if it's 5 minutes a day. I don't care if it's 10 minutes a day. Figure out a way that you can get really consistent with that. So maybe it's a podcast while you're making your kids lunch or breakfast in the morning, which is me a lot of times, whether it's listening to a YouTube, I have it playing sometimes when I'm helping my kids do things. Maybe if it's even in my shower. I actually bought a wireless like a waterproof speaker thing in my shower so I can listen to some personal development. I'm like, okay, so how can I make sure that I get this in every single day no matter what? Right? So figure out what does that look like for you. And I want to encourage you to really kind of like lean into that, right? Lean into really getting great at growing. Get really, really good at becoming the best version. Because I'll tell you that, you know, I feel that a lot of times that people, when it comes to personal development, they don't really do a lot because they don't really think that they need to grow or to get better. And the reality is all of us, our whole entire life, we need to self-educate ourselves, right? We need to educate ourselves on being better parents and being better at business and being better spouse and whatever it may be, right? So don't be afraid to lean into that piece of it and really good at it, okay? So the very first thing that's going to happen when you start doing personal development, the first senses that you're going to actually develop is sense of worth, okay? So sense of worth. So I always tell people, I really believe that, you know, like true satisfaction in your life can only manifest when you're chasing your own dreams, right? Not when you're chasing somebody else's, but when you're chasing your own, right? And, you know, when you have the ability to really kind of what I call kind of like step into your own. I think about, you know, one of the very first moments that I felt that I was actually stepping into my own. I'll tell you, my sense of worth went through the roof. Right? It went through the roof. It actually, all of a sudden, the opinions of other people, it didn't matter anymore, right? Pursuing what I thought was meaningful really took on a whole new level because all of a sudden, like, I was able to really fully, understand and like my experiences had true meaning because of my self-worth, right? And what I wrote down here too is I wrote, as you gain a more solid sense of who you are and you're ready to become, you'll start planning better, designing your life better, pursuing and identifying your goals and objectives better, right? That whole sense of worth. So number 2, sense of curiosity. That happens when you start doing personal development, right? I wrote, learn to be excited about the unknown. I think about myself, like I actually love the unknown now. I used to be so fearful of the unknown, but the more and more that I did personal development, I actually got excited about it because my sense of curiosity, right? My sense of curiosity, like continuously devouring things, getting better, getting great. Like I love the whole feeling of growing. Right? Anybody else love that? Anybody else, like, I know the times that I'm working hard on myself and I actually go through like a big growth spurt, right? That's the time that I get excited, where there's moments that I've told my husband, oh my God, Tony, like, I'm feeling it. Like I'm feeling like I'm going through a big growth spurt right now. Like it's exciting and scary all at once. But I've learned how to enjoy the sense of curiosity, right? The sense of adventure, the sense of like what's coming, right? That the whole thing of like my thirst for advancement, right? And just getting better. And I feel that is so important, guys, when it comes to our life and when it comes to our businesses. I wrote down too, being curiosity helps me develop like a sense of resiliency that is an acquired self-discipline, right? Which taught me how to cast my fears aside, which helped me be able to, just enjoy the experiences of my life just to the fullest. And I actually have tricked my brain. I actually learned this from a great friend of mine a number of years ago, but she said, Sarah, you've got to learn to fall in love with the unknown. And the more that you develop yourself, the less scared you're going to be. But literally any time that something kind of I'm fearful of or I'm scared to do, it needs to be a trigger that you would need to go, oh my gosh, this is exciting. Something great's coming around the corner. This is my green light to go, right? And it's helped me so many times that like every time, something is brand new, something is unknown, I feel like I'm like, oh, that's my green light. Oh, that's my green light. Oh, that's my green light, right? And I get excited and fired up because I've worked hard on myself and developed that sense of curiosity, right? So super important. Sense of curiosity, guys, is so awesome. And you're going to develop that more and more as you continuously are diving in and growing when it comes to personal development. Number 3, okay, sense of direction. So the more that you develop yourself, guess what? The more you're going to be when it comes to having clarity, right? And we all know, guys, when you have clarity, guess what? You make better decisions, right? But also, too, what happens is that this sense of direction is going to improve your ability to what? For most of us, it's really important. Prioritize, right? It's going to allow us to be able to prioritize the things that are important to us in our life versus sometimes feeling like we're doing all these different things, right? So I wrote down here, sense of direction helps me improve my ability to prioritize, right? And we all know that when you have got the sense of direction, guess what? We become what? More focused, right? Classes, we become more effective, right? And so when you also have a sense of direction, also guess what happens? It's very strong. You have the direction that provides commitment, right? So now you're even more committed to your purpose, to your life's ambitions, to your goals, right? So again, when you're doing personal development, you're going to develop an amazing sense of direction in your life, okay? 4th thing, sense of follow through, right? Sense of follow through. So what I wrote down here is that knowing what you want to achieve makes it easier for you to see the benefits of taking action, right? So again, because you now have a sense of direction, your sense of follow through is so strong, right? Because it's, what you need to do, the action you need to take. And because of that, it was cool. I actually had read something the other day that they said, well, when you really fall in love with what you do, and I want to encourage you guys to fall in love with this business if you haven't yet, or allow yourself to fall in love with this business. But when you actually really fall in love with a business or fall in love with whatever you do, right? What happens is that there's no need for discipline anymore because it automatically just happens. Right? You guys hear what I said? It automatically just happens. So a lot of us that are thinking, oh my God, I got to be more disciplined in my life. The reality is you just need to fall in love with your life. You just need to fall in love with this business. You need to maybe like re-fall in love with your spouse or re-fall in love with being a mom. Or do you guys know what I'm saying? Like when that happens, like you automatically just have that discipline, right? And so your sense of follow through, like it's going to be such a great thing, guys. The more that you really work on developing you, right? Developing you, like people don't sometimes understand, like why is it so important? Because guys, all these senses like are so valuable in our life, right? So valuable in our life, okay? So also too, another thing that I wrote down as well with the sense of follow through is that when you're actually committed to doing personal development, you'll always find a way to develop the necessary will, right? So what does that mean, guys? We always heard the saying, where there's a will, there's a way, right? So again, it's developing that skill, working that muscle, right? And pushing through, right? It's the will that's going to keep you moving. And that happens when you have that sense of follow through, okay? Number 5, sense of urgency. Okay, when you do personal development, you'll develop the sense of urgency. I wrote here, urgency creates a mindset to work as if your life depended on it. Especially if you have fewer resources than others, right? It will motivate you to get results quickly. I also wrote down this too, is that even if we've made bad decisions, right? We've all made poor decisions. We've all made bad decisions in our life. Because you've done personal development and you now have this sense of urgency, the sense of urgency is going to allow me to adjust faster. It's going to allow me to adjust quicker, right? It's not going to allow me to like sit around and wait, which a lot of times what happens, guys, is that we miss opportunities. We miss chances in our life, right? We've all experienced that. So the more you do personal development, you're going to have that sense of urgency. You move quicker on your feet, make better decisions, say, hey, that was a bad one. His is a good one. You're going to be able to adjust, right? And so the sense of urgency, I love that piece of it. I think for me, that's probably the strongest sense that I've developed over the years of doing personal development is that. Is how I learned how to move quickly in so many different areas of my life. Okay. Number 6. Sense of resiliency, right? We all know there's going to be tough times in our life. There's going to be tough times in our business, right? But we need to be able to have the skills and the attributes to know how to deal with them effectively, right? And personal development allows us to actually do that. And so it helps us learn how to deal with obstacles as soon as they surface, right? I think all of us, even in maybe some of us are just starting to do personal development, even with just a little bit that we've been doing, think about how much better we are with dealing with situations and circumstances and people and obstacles, right? And so I love too that, with resiliency, it's going to help us, guys, where we're never going to view any challenge as that's the end of the world. That's it, right? I view every challenge as it's temporary. And I know it might suck right now. And I know it might be hard right now, but it's just going to keep me moving. It's going to allow me to have patience and be aware and have the intestinal fortitude, right? To keep moving, even if I have to change course completely. It doesn't matter how many times I've had to change course. It just doesn't matter because I've worked hard on myself and worked hard at getting better and better and better. Not perfect, but better. That my sense of resiliency is it's lethal, right? It's lethal. And the 7th one that I want to share with you guys is sense of connectedness, right? Sense of being connected. And so we all know, guys, relationships are awesome, but they also can be double-edged swords, right? Meaning they can either lift us up or what can they do? They can take us down and they can either push us, closer to our goals or they can push us away. And the more that you improve in personal development, the more you're going to be able to see what? You're going to see which relationships, which partnerships are better for you, which ones are worth investing in, which ones, sometimes you got to cut loose, right? We don't want to hear that, but sometimes we got to cut loose. I'm realizing my screen's a little bit farther up. But also too, which ones are going to have the most impact on our life, right? And the more that you're going to, doing personal development, you're going to realize hey, I need to get the skills to gosh, make the best of the relationships that I have, but also just be better at picking the right people to surround myself with, right? And, the one thing, guys, that I know for a fact over the last 20 years in being in business, the very best investment and greatest resource in my life has been personal development. Hands down, it helped me get through all these things and get better at all these senses. And what you guys are going to realize, the more you do personal development, the more these 7 things, they just show up in your life. They help guide your life. They help you make good decisions. They help you, be better in different areas. They help you have more fulfillment and more happiness in your life the more that you're consistently doing it. So I want to encourage you guys today. Find a way to do 5 minutes a day or 10 minutes a day. Or if you can do a little bit more, do a little bit more. But just commit to yourself that every day you're going to invest in you. Whether it's 5 minutes a day, whether it's 10 minutes a day, whether it's 15 minutes a day. Because I know without a shadow of a doubt that you're worth it. But you got to know that you're worth it. Right? And so I want to put the challenge out to go grow you this year, to show up as the best version of you. And in 1 year from now, you got to reintroduce yourself to you. In 1 year from now, you have to be able to go, gosh, I don't even recognize her. I didn't even recognize him. Like, wow. Right? And be on this continuous excitement of growing and getting better every single day. So guys, let's make it a great week. Let's have a great, great day together. God bless you, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.